Canada, Banff National Park. A place known for its beauty, overnight became a place of tragedy. A rockfall at Bow Glacier Falls killed 2 hikers and seriously injured 3 others. Everything happened lightning fast. According to eyewitnesses, huge blocks of rock came off the cliff and collapsed on the observation deck, where people were at that moment. Some of them were taking photos, others were just admiring the nature. A few seconds later, the silence was broken by a rumble. Stones weighing hundreds of kilograms turned out to be deadly. Rescue services arrived promptly, but not everyone was able to help. Now the victims are in hospital, one of them is in critical condition. The reasons for the rockfall are being clarified. Preliminary, it is the consequences of several days of rain, which softened the rocks. USA, New York. One of the largest megacities of the world was hit by the weather. Downpours and strong wind gusts hit several neighborhoods at once. Large branches were torn off trees and streets were partially flooded. China, Guangdong Province. After the devastating flooding in the city of Huaiji, the water has begun to recede. But what's left behind is no less frightening. Mud, garbage, flooded cars, spoiled food, and machinery. The streets resemble a disaster zone. Strong streams of water have destroyed roads, flooded stores, and damaged sewage systems. People are forced to clear the streets by hand, with shovels, without heavy equipment. Some neighborhoods remain without electricity. Public transportation is not working. Rescuers and utility workers are working around the clock, but the scale of the damage is such that it could take weeks to recover. Authorities say the damage from the flooding is estimated in the tens of millions of dollars. And that's despite the fact that China is investing huge sums to strengthen its infrastructure. But nature is taking over again. The damage from such floods is not only economic, but also psychological. People lose confidence in the systems that are supposed to protect them. Croatia, fires in Pisak. In the coastal village of Pisak, a state of emergency has been declared due to forest fires. The flames are moving towards residential neighborhoods. Residents have been advised to leave their homes. Some have been evacuated. In a short time, hundreds of hectares of forest are covered. Because of the smoke, the coastal highway, along which the main tourist flow passes, has been partially blocked. Dozens of fire brigades are working in the region. Aviation is involved, but the fire continues to spread. United States, North Dakota, the town of Enderlin. This time, the elements in the form of a powerful tornado. According to local residents, the sky darkened, literally in minutes. People hid in basements, some did not have time. Buildings were partially destroyed, power lines were torn down. The tornado went through the residential sector. There are injured. Several people are hospitalized. Damage is estimated in the millions of dollars. It is noteworthy that this city has already been in the reports less than a month ago. Then it was also hit by a tornado, although of lesser strength. A repeat strike is causing serious concern among forecasters. All indications are that activity in the Great Plains is increasing, and destructive whirlwinds like this could become the norm. We're seeing natural phenomena becoming more and more aggressive and unpredictable. And it's important to not just follow the news, but to be prepared for the changes that are happening right before our eyes. Support our channel by subscribing so you don't miss important information. Mexico. State of Veracruz. Severe flooding hit the city and its surroundings. The downpours, which lasted for several days, turned the streets into raging torrents. The water was so swift that it literally demolished cars, commercial stalls, and metal structures. People were climbing onto rooftops. Those on the street sought shelter in stores, schools, even bus stops. The greatest damage occurred in the central part of the city. The flooding also damaged several bridges. Schools are closed and transportation has been suspended. The second disaster point is in another state. Here too, there were heavy rains that caused flooding. The city's neighborhoods were flooded, and water entered homes, stores, and schools. Areas with dense low-rise buildings were especially affected. The sewage system could not cope with the volume of precipitation, which led to instant flooding of the streets. There are no official casualty figures yet, but the damage is enormous. The problem is exacerbated by the lack of coordination between municipal services. Residents complain that they have to wait for hours for help. The USA, Arizona, Santan Valley, another manifestation of the force of nature, this time in the form of a dust tornado. A huge whirlwind rose in the Santan Valley and caused panic among local residents. The tornado was visible from several kilometers away. Its height is more than 100 meters. This is not a tornado, but the phenomenon is no less dangerous. Farmland was affected. The dust settled on young plants, disrupting growth. Residents complain of breathing problems, sand in homes, and disruptions to machinery. So far, we are not talking about a catastrophe, but anxiety among locals is growing, particularly since it happens almost every week. USA, Sierra Nevada. In the height of summer, snow, and not just a rare snowfall, but full-fledged precipitation with a steady coating on the high mountainous areas. This caused confusion among tourists, disrupted the plans of climbers and hiking groups. Canada. In a region where summer is usually the height of the tourist season, winter has suddenly arrived. A heavy snowfall in June took both tourists and local services by surprise. More than 20 centimeters of snow fell in 24 hours. The roads were impassable. The campsites where the travelers were staying were isolated from the outside world. Indonesia, Ternate Island. There is an outbreak of seismic activity in the area. Residents report a series of tremors felt over several days. The earthquakes were not destructive, but felt. In some neighborhoods, dishes were falling off shelves and brief power outages were observed. Local authorities urged to leave the coastal areas. People are afraid in case of a strong earth tremor. A tsunami may follow. Mexico, the city of Coit. The region was hit by a massive flood. Heavy rains fell on the south of the country, and in less than a day, the city was underwater. Houses, stores, and schools were flooded. Flows of water literally ripped doors off their hinges. Local residents struggled to keep their property safe, rescued pets, and climbed onto roofs. Rescue services were overwhelmed with calls. Local authorities urgently deployed temporary accommodation centers. The Chiapas region regularly faces natural disasters, but this year the amount of rainfall broke all records. Italy Piedmont, unusual weather phenomenon in the northern part of the country. A strong downward wind, accompanied by hail, hit the city. The wind was so powerful that it tore shingles off roofs, broke trees, and destroyed sheds. Hail, the size of large walnuts, battered cars, windows, and crops in the fields. Some parts of the city were left without power. Such winds used to be observed in the mountains, but now they are reaching populated areas. Residents are in shock. The damage to agriculture is enormous. Farmers have lost some of their grapes, fruit. North Dakota, Mexico, Arizona, California. The list of regions hit by the storm continues to grow, and more people feel that climate stability is no longer a given, but a story of the past. No one is spared, not tourists, not residents, not entire cities. Support our channel by subscribing and stay up to date with the most important events. Hawaii, Kilauea volcano. Another, already 26th since the beginning of the year, eruption. The volcano is once again spewing lava. Flows are slowly moving down the slopes, but so far do not threaten settlements. Nevertheless, tourists continue to flock to the perimeter of the crater. Despite the warnings, people are lining up to see the glowing lava. Many come purposefully as part of the so-called volcano tourism. Snow in summer, tornadoes at night, flooding in cities, fire among tourist areas. The planet gives us no respite, no illusions. Each of these events is a reminder. Reality has changed, and we are its witnesses. Support the channel by subscribing so that we can continue to tell you about the most important things honestly and without distortion. And in the comments write, which of these events have affected you personally? Where do you see the most disturbing changes?